but I'm excited to be here.
Well, let's talk about UC Davis. They had to win a first 4 games to make it here.
Well, obviously led by their Big West newcomer of the year, Chima Monecki. This young man, great hands and great footwork, does it at both ends of the floor. He's undersized for his position, but you saw there coming up with a steal, can rebound with the bigs and finish in traffic. They're going to need that energy against Kansas.
And because Kansas has one of the top players in the country, how about Frank Mason III? Unanimous Big 12 Player of the Year, leading scorer in the Big 12, a guy who is a great assist man. He's tough, he's a leader. Oh, and by the way, he's the number 8 leading three-point percentage shooter in college basketball.
Terrific player. Well, we've seen a lot happen in this NCAA tournament, but what we haven't seen is a number 16 beat a number 1. There have been some close calls, but none so far. The Kansas Jayhawks begin the trek. UC Davis riding the magic carpet. Number 16.
Coverage of the NCAA men's basketball tournament is sponsored by New Line Cinema's Going in Style, Buick, and by Pizza Hut.
It's the 7th time that Tulsa has hosted an NCAA tournament, 2nd time in this BOK Center. Jim Les is in his 6th season as the coach of the Aggies. He was the coach of Bradley a handful of years ago when they beat Kansas. And here is his group. JT Adenrile is one of the top players, the senior from Roseville, California. And for the Kansas Jayhawks, the magnificent Frank Mason leads that crew. And they are coached by Bill Self. He's a 7-time Big 12 Coach of the Year and a Hall of Fame finalist, the Naismith Hall of Fame in Springfield, Massachusetts. But there's been a little bit of turbulence of late, and for more on that, we bring in Dana Jacobson.
Thanks, Kevin. The latest off the court news surrounding Kansas actually happened just yesterday when an affidavit was made public by a Kansas court with guard Josh Jackson as part of it. This is about an incident that happened back in December when a member of the women's basketball team at the school threw a drink in one of Jackson's teammates' faces. At that point, Jackson then followed her out to her car and did so much damage he was actually charged with a misdemeanor. But the affidavit released yesterday said that at the time he also allegedly threatened to beat her. Now, I just talked with the school associate athletic director who told me that this is nothing new, that what is in the affidavit is what they already knew about. That includes head coach Bill Self, who handled discipline internally. As for Josh Jackson, he told the media he didn't wish to comment, that he didn't see any point in continuing to talk about an incident that happened so long ago. Bill Self echoed those sentiments about this incident happening back in December, and there was no need to continue the talk, but he did say that Jackson seemed focused right now, adding that his time on the court will be determined by his play on the court. Kevin?
Dana, thank you very much. They lost him in the Big 12 tournament, suspended by Bill. They lost then that game to TCU in the quarterfinals by 3. So they haven't played that much. They've been off, and maybe that chip has grown on their shoulder just a bit as they set to take on number 16, UC Davis. With a look at Frank Mason, in a lot of people's mind, the player of the year in college basketball.
Certainly he would get my vote if anybody asked me. I think that he has had such an outstanding year. We mentioned already, unanimous Big 12 Player of the Year, leading scorer in the Big 12. He does everything that a person can possibly do on the court for his team.
There's Monecki, the player that headlines the Aggies. Our officials tonight, Ray Acosta in his 2nd NCAA tournament, DJ Kirstensen, his 12th, and Deldry Carr, his 4th. Our alternate is Jamie Luckey, and away we go in Tulsa with UC Davis, the Big West tournament champions, with a flying play inside. They can't convert with Lamar, and here comes KU with Mason at the very top. Graham with a 3, and they need to get him on track. Lucas with the rebound.
And this is going to be the big thing for UC Davis, keeping Lucas and the other bigs for Kansas off the offensive glass. Not a lot of size for the Aggies.
Jackson with the 2. Rebound all down by Adenrile.
Well, if there is going to be a David and Goliath upset, Jim Les told us a couple keys for his team tonight. They've got to be patient offensively. They can't get into a window washer type game, run with Kansas because they don't have the athletes, and they've got to make them defend the shot clock.
Darius Graham down low. Shot clock right now is down to 3. Ademrele makes a move and travels.
The only problem against a team like Kansas with trying to run the clock down or trying to use some clock is you don't necessarily get your best shot opportunities at the end of the shot clock. And that's going to be a problem. If you're going to run it down to the end, you got to have somebody who can put it in the basket.
Or your best players with the ball in their hands to knock down those shots.
Mason on the baseline, out to Jackson on top to Graham. Nicely swung around. Lucas is there. He was held as he was going up on the rebound. Ademrele will pick up the foul.
Again, Lucas showing that size and that strength on the offensive glass. Gets already one offensive rebound and gets a foul on Ademrele on the second.
So for the Kansas Jayhawks, their 28th consecutive NCAA tournament, the longest streak in college basketball history, as Garrison Good will check in for the Aggies. 28 consecutive years. Mason a 3. The other rebound pulled down by Moneke.
What you have to do, another thing, is you got to make good decisions on offense. You do not want to create Kansas offense because you're shooting tough shots like that one.
Here's the #1 scorer in the conference, Frank Mason, with a drive and a foul. He is so fast and so quick as he takes it in. The foul there goes on Darius Graham, and he picks up his first.
And that's part of the problem for UC Davis. Kansas really likes to get it out and go, and you have to find a way to get in front of Frank Mason and somehow make him stop in transition.
That's the problem for every team that faces him.
Well, and that's why transition defense is going to be huge. And it's not a big rotation for this UC Davis team. Can't get into early foul trouble when you got arguably the player of the year, Mason, coming at you at full steam.
He was a unanimous Big 12 player of the year. And safe to say the heart and soul of this team.
A little nerves here to start this game for the Jayhawks. They've been sitting around the hotel all day watching the first 2 games, and obviously yesterday with all the games going on, when you're the #1 seed, you kind of want to get going a little bit.
And remember, UC Davis has already played a game in this tournament, so maybe they might be the more relaxed of the 2 teams.
We saw that with USC.
Davis beat North Carolina Central Wednesday in Dayton by 4. 67-63. Moneke. Lamar, and here comes Good. Off, Mason is there.
Oh, that's some. I thought he caught it. I was just going to say that's some catch, but Mikhailuk not able to control it.
White. Moneke quickly doubled. With a drive inside, nothing there. Rebound. Mikhailuk gets it, and it's Graham at the other end. Davis comes in 23-12. Then in the Big West, 11-5. That'll count, and that's a 2, and Jackson's got his first 2.
Kevin, Reggie mentioned the size advantage that Kansas possesses, and I'm a little surprised that we went 3 minutes before they actually threw the ball inside.
And Kansas is not a big team.
Not a Bill Self big team.
Right,
when
exactly.
You got so many other 7-footers that are playing at the next level.
Lamar with a 3, Graham with a rebound. Jackson was the consensus #1 high school player coming out last year.
And everyone likes to compare, obviously, Andrew Wiggins in his first year at Kansas with Bill Self to Jackson's.
And this is what we're talking about with Jackson. He's right there, and all he's going to do is come right across, and they lose him. And I think Jackson, of all the people on the court, he's not one you want to lose, particularly right underneath the basket. That's a very nice play. But again, that's really the first time the Jayhawks actually went inside.
Landon Lucas just picked up his first, and Colton Bragg has taken his place.
Well, Dan, how do you potentially lose possibly the #1 overall pick if he is to take that next level, huh?
Well, they're wearing white uniforms. It's not like Baylor wore earlier today, those neon uniforms. It's hard to see.
Moneke just got that.
Well, you see when Monecki catches the ball, the Jayhawks are double teaming him. They know that he's an offensive factor.
Mason works on Graham with a nice spin move. What a play.
Hey, that's great defense by Graham, but just better offense there by Mason. It was a nice little pearl move in the paint.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. There's not a lot you can do about that. If that guy makes that shot, you tip your hat and you say, okay, maybe I'll get him the next time.
Monecki again, Bragg defending. Nice play. The Australian with a beautiful spinner. Mason the other way. Intercepted on the play by Lamar. Through traffic, and he'll float up and hits the deck hard and was fouled on the play. Brenton Lamar, senior from San Diego. But watch this. He's too quick to call. Frank Mason, player of the year in the conference. And the other way, they send Lamar.
Coca-Cola Life. Great Coca-Cola taste, sweetened with cane sugar and stevia leaf extract. And 35% fewer calories. Enjoy a Coca-Cola Life today.
Taste the feeling.
Slow Wi-Fi at home. Guess I'm studying at the gym tonight.
That is rough. You know, iPad Pro has LTE like your phone, so you can get internet pretty much anywhere. Anywhere.
Hey, I thought you were choosing the flute.
Everyone is doing flute.
Buick now has an SUV for that.
Where's your brother?
Hey, Mom, it's a 2-bus.
Buick Enclave, one of 3 luxury SUVs from the new Buick.
Buick celebrates March Madness with a sweet 16% below MSRP on select 2017 Buick SUVs in stock. That's nearly $8,000 below MSRP on this 2017 Enclave.
There comes a time when the hard way is the only way. Ordering Pizza Hut is not that time. When I want a $7.99 large pizza from Pizza Hut, I can order with this, and now from my Pizza Hut Pie Tops.
Here's your large 2-topping Pizza Hut pizza.
Easy as pie.
Now get a large 2-topping pizza for just $7.99. It's the best pizza delivery deal.
Because no one out-pizzas the Hut.
Semtex Steel has frozen all pension payments.
40 years I worked for that company, and now they're stealing our pension.
Let's rob a bank.
You're talking about us?
These banks destroyed this country, and nothing ever happened to them.
I'm in.
We're gonna need a practice run.
You guys are old.
What would your mama say?
Go big or go home.
Had to be the brother.
Going in style. Rated PG-13.
When my hair is too long, I don't feel right. But when I get a cut, I'm me again. And trust falls, they don't even scare me anymore.
That pomade really broke my fall.
Get back to greatness. Great Clips. It's gonna be great.
My laptop has the nastiest virus and I'm terrified.
Yeah, that is scary. You know, an iPad Pro doesn't get PC viruses. So relax. There's nothing to be afraid of. Except ghosts!
Is your bracket already busted? Enter Infinity's round-by-round bracket, where each correct pick nets a donation to Coaches versus Cancer. Well, UC Davis started 0 of 5 from the floor, yet they're still in it down by just 1. And a free throw coming up against the number 1 seed Kansas Jayhawks.
Kevin, part of the reason is Kansas is only 2 for 6 shooting, so haven't been really on. Neither team's been on fire here early, and I think as long as the shooting is tough, that's the advantage of UC Davis.
At the free throw line, Brenton Lamar, 1,000-point scorer, 16th in school history. Mentioned before, he's from San Diego. He was the number 1 scorer in the Big West Conference.
And also, too, there's something to be said for a team like UC Davis that's just excited to be here. We saw in practice yesterday how excited they were just for the opportunity. They had the win on Wednesday, and they're really playing with house money going against the number 1 seed Kansas Jayhawks.
Tyler Schneider is now checked in for Davis. Kansas has their original group out there. Jackson got the feed from the newly instated LeGerald Pitt. That shot won't go. A missed 3 right there.
And again, UC Davis is able to keep Kansas away from the basket, keeping them on the perimeter.
Bragg comes out with a bit of defense. Here's Vic now on Lamar. Mikey Henn has come in too. That left-handed shot is up and in by Lawrence Wright. That's a 6-0 run by UC Davis. Vic at the other end.
If you're UC Davis and the fans, can the lights go out here in Tulsa right now and they stop the game? Can they just stop the game right now?
3, Josh Jackson, book it. Jackson with 5.
Well, I like what Bill Self told us about Jackson yesterday and those comparisons to Wiggins. Wiggins was a little bit more of a finesse player. Jackson has a little bit more grit to his ball game.
This drive after a good move by Lamar. KU quickly the other way. Jackson has it. Hand is there defending. Cross court. Graham open 3. Got it. Devontae Graham. Second team all Big 12. Been in a bit of a shooting slump. That's a good sign for KU.
Well, it is, and Kansas gets 32% of their offense from beyond the three-point arc, so they need to make threes. But I think if you're UC Davis, you'd rather give them the threes than the shots close to the basket. You just got to contest those threes.
Snyder. He's one of the great hustlers in that conference. All knocked away. First round coverage of the NCAA Division I Women's Basketball Championship is underway on ESPN2 and watch ESPN. And for more information on game times and listings, go to ncaa.com. A Denrelay has checked back in for Davis. Monecki, hard shot, well defended, rebound Mason, outlet to Graham, here they come running, Jackson will slice, got it, and wipe it away, offensive foul.
How about Monecki guessing where Jackson was going to make that move and then took the charge here? I mean, this is a beautiful defensive effort here by Monecki. Jackson tries to go up and over. You take the charge right in the chest. That's a great call there by the official.
Well, now remember, you have to establish initial guarding position, both feet on the floor facing the dribbler. Then you're allowed to move to maintain that guarding position. And that's exactly what Monecki did. You're right, he guessed which way Jackson was going. He moved into position. That's a heck of a defensive play. That's transition defense at its finest.
Mikhailuk back in. He'll take the place of Jackson to drive by Snyder. Right down the lane with a very good spin off the glass on the drive in a one-point game.
Spin off his hip, Kevin. He had that ball about as low as you can have it and still get it up to the rim.
It's Mason against Graham. Pretty shot. Frank Mason from Petersburg, Virginia. He's got 5.
And I see Graham holding his head down. That is a great defensive effort. You're just getting trumped, by a great offensive player in Mason.
An elite player in the game now. Snyder at 3. Got it! That ties the game at 13.
And of course, anytime you have a big upset in this tournament, the 3 works into there. And again,
Graham's got the offensive foul on the drive.
Great transition defense. This is, again, Kansas is trying to get out and go, but this time it's a Denrelay that gets in the way.
Kansas has now 5 turnovers. UC Davis has 1. Landon Lucas is back out there. Bragg will sit next to Jackson on the bench.
I think Kansas can't worry about that. They got to keep pushing the issue here.
Monecki. Lamar, 3. Rebound by Lucas.
Now Lamar comes into this game having attempted 200 three-point baskets on the year.
Mikhailuk with a 3. Lucas with a good rebound. Here comes Mason. Will dance on the defense. Down low to the senior, Landon Lucas. Graham, 3. Wow. He's hit a couple now from outside. He's got 6.
Well, what shooting slump.
Right, gone.
Those back-to-back threes by Graham there. Looks like a guy that's been in rhythm all season.
He is the most outstanding player in the Big 12 tournament.
He shot that from right in front of the March Madness Live sign. That is a deep 3. He was nearly out of the coach's box.
Drive here by Graham. Snyder again. Monecki tried to grab it, and a whistle inside. Devontae Graham. He leads the Jayhawks in three-point shots made. He nails his second in a row right here for number 1 seed KU. We mentioned before about the 28 consecutive NCAA tournament appearances for KU. That's a college basketball record. But what about what they've done in conference play? 13 consecutive league titles. It ties them all time with UCLA, who won the Pac-8 at that time from 67 to 79 for the most consecutive regular season conference titles in Division I history. Let's swing it over to Dana.
And, you know, just to give people a sense of what was going on then back in time, there was no Twitter. Facebook had less than 5 million users. The iPhone was 2 years away, and Graham and Mason were just 10 years old. Svi was 7, and the Ukraine didn't even know where Kansas was.
Monecki at the line.
You never saw The Wizard of Oz? Good point.
Everyone knows where Kansas is. Actually, Kansas City, Lawrence, about a 4.5 hour drive from Tulsa. So there's a lot of, as you might expect, a lot of KU fans here.
Right, but how long a drive is it from the Ukraine?
A longer way. Yeah. You need more than a car.
Been very impressed with the UC Davis defense and their ability to keep the Jayhawks out of the lane.
Mason. Mikhailuk.
Finally, Mikhailuk gets one to go on the dribble penetration by Mason. See what happens, though, when you're able to collapse that UC Davis defense, get a wide open look.
But again, I think that if I'm UC Davis, I collapse the defense to try to prevent the interior shot and hope that Kansas has a cold night from outside the three-point arc. I mean, you're going to have to give something up.
Kansas already in this first half, 4 of 9 from downtown.
KU started the game 0-5. They've gone 7 of 9 since. That's still not pulling away, up by 4.
Well, one of the reasons, Kevin, they're not pulling away is they keep throwing the ball out the door. They've got those 5 turnovers.
Oh, hold on! Here comes Jackson. Sailing it off the left baseline.
And that's just a simple wink and communication between Mason and Jackson. Talking about 2 guys being on the same page here.
Monecki doubled. Denverley puts it back up and in. He has started now with tonight his 111th consecutive game. Brandon Lucas from behind. Denverley got him.
We talked about the communication between Mason and Jackson right here. Monecki just falls asleep. He gets caught ball watching. Jackson does the right thing. Just go straight to the rim. Let your athleticism do the rest.
I think even if Monecki's paying attention, there's nothing you can do about that.
Here's Graham. And off to Mason, who was lightly recruited out of his high school. Mikhailuk. Rebound inside, Lawrence White. He's 6'4", the senior from Burbank. Hennings is in for the first time. Darrell Hennings, 5'8", junior from Seattle. 5'8". Mason about 5'10 and a half. Little floater inside. With a rebound by Jackson.
Not much doing on the offensive boards for UC Davis either.
Mason 3. Lucas keeps it alive. Graham a triple. Jackson in there. Lucas, the pump. The knockaway. The retrieval by KU. Quick hands. Mason. Right with the rebound.
Yeah, let's give a lot of credit to Lucas for keeping the ball alive on the offensive glass for Kansas. Just can't find a way to put the ball in the basket.
Snyder got a screen on the floor. Mikhailuk lost him. That's 2 right there. He's got in the contest now. Snyder 7.
Points off the bench by Snyder.
Well, Snyder's more athletic than you think. He's pretty quick off that dribble.
Now foul is called. The boys are back. TNT's hit series Animal Kingdom returns for a highly anticipated second season. Don't miss the premiere May 30th at 9 p.m. only on TNT. White for UC Davis picks it up. Lucas will sit down, and here comes Bragg, and also LeGerald Vick is out there. Schneider will sit. Monecki will sit. They bring in Hen. Lamar back in there. And it's Bragg. Where Bragg came out of high school, he was a highly thought of kid. Vick maneuvers to 2. Bragg tips it, but right to good.
Again, good block out.
Davis has won 4 straight, and they've won 7 of their last 8 games. And a quick timeout taken by Lamar. And Davis probably not playing with an ounce of pressure in this game.
House money.
Kansas by 2, under 8 to go here on TNT. And we're back in Tulsa. Watch live games on your computer, phone, tablet, or streaming device with NCAA March Madness Live. Watch now at ncaa.com/March Madness or download the app today. Kansas by 2. They've led by 6 in a game that's had 3 ties and 2 lead changes. Davis's biggest lead, 3. Jackson out there, Graham, Mikhailuk, Vick, Bragg, the Jayhawk 5. That's a 2 and a long one by Britton Lamar, and a 6-0 run for UC Davis.
And when you watch these Aggies play, they are so fundamentally sound, and that's an extension of their head coach, Jim Les, who preaches and brags about that with his team.
They're doing such a great job denying the dribble penetration. That time, Jackson.
Oh, wow.
My heavens.
Holy smokes.
Whoa.
He's got 9.
I don't know if that was Jackson or Dr. J out there doing that.
Big 12 Freshman of the Year, Josh Jackson. There's a little shove and a foul. It will go on Arel Hennings. How about this? Up and under by the talented freshman Josh Jackson.
Coverage of the NCAA Men's Basketball Tournament is sponsored by Enterprise Rent-A-Car, Taco Bell, and by Napa.
First half, Tulsa, round of 64, Kansas by 2. Rebounding number there, you see right there. Kansas was number 1 in the Big 12 in rebounding, top 40 in the nation. 39 a game, most in 4 years. They got a +8 in that category now.
Kevin, and while we were going, here's the discussion between player and referee, and here's Coach Jim Les. And watch this interaction. This happened as we were walking off the court. Jim Les just kept going, and the officials banged him. And so what's going to happen there? Technical on Jim Les, so it'd be 2 shots for Mason, and then Kansas will get the ball out of bounds down here where the foul occurred.
Mason, a 78% free throw shooter. He gets it right there. He has started every game, Mason has, for KU over the last 3 years.
And that's the last thing you want to do when you're a number 16 seed, is basically gift wrap points to the number 1 seed. I understand Coach Les is trying to make his point, but it's already an uphill battle.
Each team has taken 4 free throws. Mikhailuk through the lane. Hen was there, and others, with 7:05 to play in the first half from Tulsa. It goes on Lawrence White, who picks up his second. 1-1. 5 seniors on this UC Davis roster, and 9 upperclassmen. So they've got experience, and they've used that to their advantage most of the season. In their first NCAA tournament appearance. I mean, you can only imagine that this one-time Division II school not too long ago won the D2 National Championship in '98, made the transition to D1, and here they are on the biggest stage against one of the biggest names in college basketball in Kansas.
So we keep talking about them playing with house money. I really thought they got their nerves out in Dayton when they won that ball game. Now they're coming here kind of playing loosey-goosey against the #1 seed.
Lamar missed the long two. Jackson has the rebound for Kansas.
Oh, what a blur. And another charge turnover for the Kansas Jayhawks. That's 6 turnovers already here in this first half.
Again, Mason trying to stop, and that's Hennings in there. And probably, Hennings is only 5'8". I don't know if Mason saw him.
KU has 4 offensive fouls already.
And each of those offensive fouls also classifies as a turnover.
Monecki, Lamar, Graham. Monecki against Landon Lucas. Snyder outside, splits the D. It's intercepted by Jackson. Ahead to Mason. Into 2. And down the hatch. Mason has just given Kansas their biggest lead in this first half.
And that's the one thing Jim Les told us yesterday that they absolutely could not do is turn the ball over and let Kansas get run-out baskets.
Now you've got the Kansas faithful crowd getting into it. Let's see if the Aggies can react here.
Hen over Vic. The miss 3. Another Jackson rebound. He's collected 4 and brings it the other way. With a move and a drive and a scoop.
Wow. I mean, he's going in his bag of tricks. He goes baseline looking like Dr. J, and this time in the paint looking like Steve Nash.
10-0 Kansas run. Jackson at the very top of the priority list for this team.
Well, obviously his name has been in the news lately, but he's come out, kind of put that in the back burner and just played basketball. Knocking down the 3, here's the alley-oop, and how about this move right here? The ball doesn't even touch his hands. He talks about a la Steve Nash with the left off the glass.
That looked more like George Gervin.
Oh, yes.
Monecki. Oh! And Jackson there in the foul drawn.
Well, maybe that's the only way to defend Jackson and attack him on offense, get him in foul trouble. Can't do that from the bench.
Jackson has had 7 double-doubles in the last 10 games. Then sat out that quarterfinal against TCU in the loss in Kansas City last week. 5:42 to play here in the first half. Monecki at the line. The CBS Sports app is your app for the NCAA tournament. Follow your bracket, watch highlights, and get instant team and upset alerts. Download the CBS Sports app now to experience every moment of the action.
Through Jim Les and UC Davis. Kansas going on that run, going up by 10. Here's a chance to get it down to 8 and let your defense kind of reset and get back in this ball game. You can't let this game get away from you, Dan.
Right, but Kansas is a team that plays in spurts. So when they get one of those runs, what you have to do if you're the defense is make it as short as possible and then try to make some baskets.
Mikhailuk. Look at Bragg fly in there and fight for that ball. Talking to Bill Self yesterday, he talked about the lack of size and the lack of depth. He said, this is about as small a team as I've had, so he's had to kind of rethink the way he coaches.
Well, he told us that he likes to play 2 big guys at a time, but he doesn't really have the personnel to do that, so he's playing basically 4 smaller guys around Lucas.
It's Monecki by Bragg. Saved by Lucas. Outlet to Mason. Into Bragg, and broken up on the play by Brenton Lamar.
Well, the Kansas defense has been very good. There's been some close shots for UC Davis, but they haven't been easy shots. Kansas is contesting everything, making life very difficult for the Aggies.
Mason. Rebound by Lamar.
Got to get some baskets.
Davis joined the Big West back in 2007, the first year at D1. Lamar with a spinner as the defense fell and popped back out, but picked up by Mason. The other way to Graham.
Well, Kansas may not have much size in a relative sense, but they're the big team here tonight.
Landon Lucas.
And there you can see them utilizing that size on offense. They've been utilizing their size advantage on the defensive end, making it very tough for Davis. But here Lucas just gets it and powers the ball to the goal.
And if you look at the stats here, Lucas, that's his first basket of the game, but his imprints have been all over this game on the rebounds. 8 rebounds, 5 of those offensive, which has allowed Graham and Mason and Jackson to thrive at the offensive end.
Last time we saw him about a week ago against TCU at 13 points and 14 rebounds, part of what has been a 4 double-double senior season. He's a 5th-year senior from Portland, Oregon, although he grew up in Tokyo.
He is a guy who doesn't score a lot of points, but he has an awful lot to do with the team being able to score points.
Keeping those balls alive and getting second and third opportunities.
And when he catches it inside, he's a pretty good passer out of the post, and he's one of those guys that helps facilitate things even when he's not scoring.
Lamar, Monecki, Lawrence White. Again, relay out there, and Snyder. That's the 5 out there for Davis. With a move by Lamar, across the lane and knocked away by Bragg, and picked up by Vic. It's Graham. Hold on for Mason. Oh! How he contorted and in mid-flight kept his composure, was able to adjust. A thing of beauty.
Isn't he usually the one that's throwing those? Catching them?
15-1 Kansas run. Vic gets the loose shot. Mason hits the deck and covers it up and torn away by Snyder. Monecki. Mikhailuk with the rejection. Snyder, 3. Davis, no. With a whistle and a foul. A Den relay will pick it up for the Aggies. While in mid-flight, you change course, yet you keep your compass pointed in the right direction. Back in Tulsa now, the Powerade sideline report, and back to Dana Jacobson.
All right, Kevin, UC Davis's top player is Chima Monecki. He's got an interesting background. He's lived on 5 different continents. His parents were Nigerian diplomats, and he found his way to California via a JC in Nebraska, and he didn't even start playing basketball until he was a junior in high school. His name, by the way, shortened so we can all say it. I got to look at his driver's license. It's 2 lines. His last name on the first line, that's Moaneke, and then his first name is actually Wanchuku Ihukumeri Chima. I know, it's too long for you guys to say, so I said it for you.
That's a lot of vowels.
Thank you, Dana. A lot of vowels, a lot of consonants.
A lot of consonants, too.
Good for you, Dana. I'm not even going to go there. I'm having a hard time with Shima.
He was the newcomer of the year in the Big West. Here's Devontae Graham at the free throw line. He leads Kansas in free throw shooting at 79%. KU in a couple important categories, plus 12 in rebounding and plus 6 points in the paint.
Well, we've talked a couple of times about their size advantage, and the rebounding is where you have seen it. They've been able to do a good job particularly on the defensive boards. Not much doing for UC Davis in terms of getting offensive rebounds after they miss shots.
Davis is led by 3. KU lead as big as 16. We've had 4 ties and a couple lead changes, and inside maneuvering was Monecki.
You can tell Bill Self's game plan coming into tonight. Every time Monecki was going to catch the ball on the block, they were going to double him. He didn't even see the double coming from the middle that time. Very fortunate to get the foul and go to the free throw line.
Now, Reggie, I think that's a good stratagem because Monecki, if you look at the stats coming in 35 games in which he has played, he only has a total of 29 assists. So he is a guy that when you throw him the ball in the post, he's usually going to shoot it.
So you're saying he's a black hole?
No,
no, that's what they said about you.
I'm saying that
I get it.
He may not
kill
be
the
a
kid
great
on
passer.
national TV,
No,
Dan.
I'm just...
Way to kill the kid. You're calling him Kevin McHale, the black hole. Ball goes in, never comes out.
There's Jim Les. He played in the NBA for 7 years. Utah, the Clippers, Sacramento, Atlanta. Head coach at Bradley from Chicago. Played for Dick Versace.
Dick Versace.
Yes.
There's a name.
Another one of my coaches in Indiana.
So another guy who drove out of the business.
Yeah, you're right about that. I'm only kidding, Dick.
Vic. And some freedom to fire in there, and they're reaching in with a quick foul, and that will go on Lamar, and that's the first. Davis is here by virtue of their win in the Big West Tournament Championship. They beat UC Irvine in the tournament championship by 3. They had lost to Irvine a week earlier by 30. But they came back and got revenge.
Well, isn't that why you play conference tournament?
That's right.
Well, now, if you're going to lose one game by 30 and win the other one by 3, you would prefer the conference tournament championship.
Sure. Coming up on the AT&T at the half, scores and highlights in the latest NCAA tournament news. All coming up in the AT&T at the half. You're on TNT.
Somewhere the UC Irvine team is watching this, scratching their head, saying, "We beat these dudes by 30. We could
by
be playing
30 points.
We could be playing Kansas right now."
I'm not sure that anybody wants to be playing Kansas.
I agree. Yep. The number one, as we said, they were in a position to earn the number 1 overall seed before their quarterfinal loss in the Big 12.
Well, again, you pointed out a couple of times, Kevin, Jackson did not play in that game, and we have seen today how valuable he is for this Kansas team.
Here he comes again! That was Vic. But another Jayhawk reeling his way down that baseline. And just as impressive as Jackson is LeGerald Vic, the sophomore from Memphis. He's usually the first off the bench. Graham the other way. Mason there to defend. To the hands of Monecki.
Well, if you're Jim Lesh, you're going to have to shore up this last line of defense right here, especially if you're going to play a zone. Lucas does a great job there of kind of holding the screen, which allows Vic to go airborne.
I'm not sure that there's any way you can defend that at the basket. You've got to put more pressure on the ball so Mason doesn't have all day to stand there and line that one up.
Here's Mason. Lucas trying to sort of scream a little pick and roll. That's what they get. And Monecki there to defend. Nice series of moves to get open for Landon Lucas.
He used every bit of that 3 seconds in there, too.
But very patient. His first pivot didn't work out, and so he just took his time, didn't panic, worried about that 3 seconds.
Graham on the floor. Monecki is there. Lucas defends.
Monecki's a hard worker down low, boy. He's undersized, but this kid gives you effort on every single play.
First UC Davis field goal in 6 minutes, too. Devontae Graham. He's got 3 triples.
And what were we just talking about with Landon Lucas? That ball went inside to him. He had the opportunity to shoot maybe a tough shot, but he kicks it out, and then the extra pass creates the wide open 3.
Jayhawks have their biggest lead tonight.
25-4 run here by Kansas.
It's a long shot, which does not go through for Lawrence White.
One of the things I think that was happening early for UC Davis is they were getting some uncontested looks at the basket on the perimeter, but Kansas has shut that off. You can't relax if you're one of the Aggies because you know somebody's running at you.
Dwight Colby is checked in for the first time in this game. A shot right there off that baseline by Lamar.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
What a pass. Mikhailuk from Mason, and that was surgical.
Oh, my goodness. Now you see why he is the player of the year. And he does it at both ends of the floor, can shoot the basketball, attack the rim, and makes his teammates better.
11 points and 5 assists for Mason.
You play with a guy like that, all you got to do is run the court. If you're open, you know you're going to get the ball.
Mikhailuk gets it. It's Graham. And knocked away by White, who intervenes on that play.
And here comes Mason up the court. He's moving his head. He finds the open man. And Mikhailuk, you just run down the court. You know if you're open, he's going to put the ball right where it needs to be.
Well, that's kind of the key. Always your eyes ahead, right? You're looking ahead, Rick.
Well, especially that's so important as a point guard. You're looking to get other guys involved here. Mason, no different.
Hawks have found their stride. A 1 against a 16. It's never happened where a 1 has been upset. We've had a couple close calls. Kansas, after some early close play from Davis in the earlier stages of this first half, it's pulled away. Mikhailuk. Oh, wow. Svi Mikhailuk from the Ukraine. 2 seconds left. They throw it up. With a foul, Mikhailuk will pick it up, and that's the first on him.
That's a 3-shot foul.
Free throw line is Siler Snyder from Lansing, Kansas. Went to Lansing High School. He was the Big West Conference 6th Man of the Year.
So this is a big game for him.
Sure is.
Going against Kansas. All his family and friends watching this.
That's another one to drop. UC Davis campus, about 12 miles or so from Sacramento, California. But happy to be here in their first NCAA tournament appearance.
And I've loved the energy they have brought.
Yep, they have.
These are some good young men on this UC Davis Aggie team. Very impressed.
Ooh, Graham took a shot from Monecki, and there was no call. And the buzzer sounds, and the half is over. We heard the shot that Graham took to the chops over here. We got T-boned.
That's a foul. That is a foul. I'm sorry.
Jim West is out there arguing right now to the officiating crew.
Well, he's arguing because he got a technical for doing the same thing, and that's what he's upset about.
Well, our game was tied at 21. Kansas goes on a 29-7 run to finish off the half to Dana Jacobson.
I'm here with Bill Self. Bill, you guys almost had that 25-point lead going into the break, but it was slow going at the start for your team. Was that just shaking off that week absence from the floor?
You know, we only played once in 13 days. That may have been part of it. We didn't shoot it well early, and hey, they're really good defensively. I mean, it's amazing to me that we got 50, to be honest with you, because they were really good defensively, and finally the league came off and we played a lot better.
You certainly never get to say this against other teams this year, but you have a size advantage here, and we see that on the glass, and we've seen that points in the paint. How can you use that in the second half to your advantage?
We need to do a better job of throwing it to Landon down inside, and Josh. Josh was on a little bit of a roll till he got his second foul, but, you know, we've been living by the jump shot a little bit too much.
Thanks, Coach.
Bill Self, who 20 years ago this week left Oral Roberts University to go to the University of Tulsa, then to Illinois, and then to Kansas, where he spent the last 14 years. We'll send you to the AT&T at the half after these messages as you're watching the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship on TNT.
AT&T at the half is presented by AT&T.
In the Midwest region, out in Tulsa, Oklahoma, we are at halftime, and Kansas, the #1 seed in the Midwest, leads UC Davis by a score of 50-28. Welcome to AT&T at the half, everyone. I'm Greg Gumbel, along with Clark, Kenny, and Charles. I know people who watch the games know better, but for the casual observer, I kind of get the feeling Kansas is under the radar of all the #1 seeds.
Yeah, you're right.
Because they don't get talked about as much.
I would agree with that compared to the other #1s. Gonzaga was a team that actually was ranked 1. Kansas has been in that neighborhood, but they're very, very good and playing at a high level. Jumped on UC Davis midway through that first half with a 29-7 run, and they do it because they've got tremendous backcourt players. And Frank Mason, a National Player of the Year candidate, had 11 points. Actually got all but 3 of the 50 points from the 5 starters, and Mason had 11 of them there. And this is him in the transit. This is what he really does best, playing downhill, finishes oversized, and I didn't know he could do this. They threw him a nice oop there, and he got it up and down. But Bill Self wanted to see them throw it inside more. They were 13 of 18 on 2-point shots, took 14 threes, and Bill Self said, we need to throw it inside more.
I like the fact they're just coming out, taking care of business. When you're playing a team that you're superior than, you can't give them any hope. You punch them in the mouth really quick, and then you just keep running downhill because they know they're not as good as you. You can't give them any confidence. Very impressive first half by Kansas.
Well, the biggest thing is shots. 9 for 32 for UC Davis. If you make shots, you're going to be in games. They weren't able to make shots. Kansas is 18 for 32. It's not like you're turning the ball over and they're getting more possessions than you. It's just you're not being able to make shots that are being contested. They are. That's where the punch in the mouth is coming from. It's not the inability to make shots.
It's a 22-point punch, 50-28 right now. Kansas in charge. Games in action. South region, 10 seed Wichita State, #7 seed Dayton. Oh, excuse me. This is Rhode Island and Creighton.
That was Lamar Odom.
And that was Lamar Odom. And then he watched URI go to work.
They sure did. Controlled this one pretty much from the start. Here's Creighton. They'll get an opportunity in transition.
Karan Iverson knocks down the three, my young gun.
And then Stanford Robinson with the steal and throwdown. And URI, the third 11 seed to advance in this tournament.
And you guys are all high on URI.
Yeah, they're playing extremely well. Defensively, they've been really good, Greg. Coming into today's game, they had only allowed 61 points a game in the 8-game winning streak that became 9 just a little while ago.
Oh, Chuck, you look like you were ready to say something.
Well, that was not an upset, even though you look at the seeds. I think most people going in, Creighton hasn't been the same team since they lost their starting point guard. And I think most people today, all of us, I think, on the earliest show predicted Rhode Island was going to win. So that was no shock whatsoever.
Rhode Island is versatile, they're big, and they're tough. So those are the three things you need to advance.
Going for you,
Those
absolutely.
are 3 attributes that are great to have, for sure.
All right, let's take a look at South Region play now. Wichita State and number 7 seed Dayton. Shaq Morris got the friendly bounce here to get Wichita State going early.
Boy, these teams are mirror images of each other. Extremely well coached, play with an edge, a little bit undersized. Wichita State deeper, but Scoochie Smith from way downtown. Here's Charles Cook, beautiful bounce pass to Cunningham. This is a terrific matchup, a 7 and 10 seed going at it. Excellent work on the glass. Boy, these teams are fun to watch. Get after it. And I like Dayton in this one, folks. It's a 2-point lead right now, but I like the way the Flyers are letting that 3-ball fly.
Yeah, I just can't get the fact somebody named their kid Shaq. That's just never a good thing.
Coming up on 4 minutes to play in the first half.
I thought you were going to say
4:22. In Greenville, South Carolina, the Troy-Duke game. Second half of UNC Texas, small section of the court became what they termed unsafe, and some repairs were made.
Who carries that in their back
place and smooth it out, and then they went to work.
It wasn't in his back pocket. It was in the maintenance storage area.
Just checking.
Emil Jefferson with the putback there, and Duke. They do such a really good job, I think, of always showing up ready to play no matter who the opponent is. You never see the Blue Devils being accused of playing down to the opposition.
This is
the same effort level pretty much all the time.
But this is the team that everybody predicted at the beginning of the season that's played like the last week. They started out, I think, preseason number 1, been inconsistent all season.
Injuries have been a big part of it.
Well, they started the season with all those injuries, and then now they got it together full bore.
Well, shout out to the Troy Trojans who, really got down big early. Now they cut the lead to 10.
Mm-hmm.
They're back in the game and making a game of it. And again, it comes down to making contested shots, because then you get open shots. If you can't make contested shots, you will never get open.
One thing about that Troy team, they got a kid named Wesley Person. And one thing about those persons, whether they up 10, up 20, 30, they going to keep gunning it.
Yeah, no question.
And when you knock something down, I think that helps your defense.
Without
You
question.
can set it, and it gives you some confidence.
Well, he don't have that many left because Dad and Uncle got a lot of baskets.
AT&T at the half continues after this.
Upshaw for 3. Hit it. Darnell Harris hits a 3. Middle Tennessee, 6 for 6 to start this one. Oh, there's the throwdown. The Blue Raiders has won it, and they are moving on.
And that's a look at the Spartans of Michigan State arriving at the arena for their game in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Spartans looking to exorcise the demons from their stunning upset loss in the first round last year when they take on the 8th seed Miami Hurricanes in a Midwest region showdown later tonight on TNT. 8 more games completed this afternoon. Time for a quick look back with 6 and 60.
Here we go. Walton. Wow. All net. He has put this team on his back. Michigan advances.
What a knockaway by Achuil.
And the Bears march on into the second round of the NCAA tournament. How is that not an intentional foul? They just changed it. They're going to go with a flagrant. The Razorbacks survive and advance.
They reffed a good game all night, so I can't really complain about whether I agree with it or not. I'm always going to disagree with it. That's what coaches do.
And Louisville is heading to a Sunday meeting with Michigan.
One of my players said there's a lady in our huddle stealing our plays.
Tracy Wilson.
A three, Stewart. Good! Milton on the fly, and no, it is C is one!
North Carolina will advance. The top seed has a date with Arkansas.
Anybody want to bet whether Michigan grad Tracy Wilson will be allowed into the huddle?
Hey, look, it is interesting to see a lady in your huddle, though. I don't fault the kid for that one.
Unusual.
It's not. That is a little unusual.
She's doing her job, man.
How would you know that if you've never seen a lady in your huddle?
Back out for the second half.
You probably
of
never
UC
saw
Davis
one lady in
Kansas.
his huddle.
Good work,
This
Tracy.
gets serious right after this.
Is that the same? Great work, Tracy.
AT&T at the half is presented by AT&T.
One of the biggest names in college basketball, Kansas, the #1 seed by 22 at halftime on TNT.
Coverage of the NCAA men's basketball tournament is sponsored by the Quicksilver Card from Capital One, Geico, Jiffy Lube, and by Samsung.
Back in Tulsa with our Buick first half stats. KU plus 13 in rebound, plus 12 points in the lane. 12 points from three. And Dan, how about a couple of Jayhawk stars?
Well, let's start with Frank Mason. We talked about him before the game. Look at these numbers by Mason. He's on pace for a triple-double. Throws the alley-oop and then receives the alley-oop. So I don't know how often he does that, but that's pretty good. And then Josh Jackson, talk about a guy who did everything in the first half, made his one and only three-point shot, and then spent the rest of the time gliding to the basket. He scored 11 points as well.
Kevin Harlan, Dan Bonner, and Hall of Famer Reggie Miller. We're going to check in with Dana here in just a second. Some first half thoughts, and where's our second half going?
Well, if you're UC Davis and Jim Les, you're playing for the future recruits. I mean, you're going against Kansas, and you got to continue to play hard because you're building a path, you know, for future guys to come to UC Davis.
Did you not get the St. Patrick's Day time memo here about the green?
I did not.
He got the shoe memo, though, and we didn't.
Yeah. And my green is in my shoes, Craig Sager shoes, people, so that's what I'm doing. Here's my green, because Sager was all about the colors. Who cares about a tie? It's about the shoes.
It takes quite a man to wear those kind of shoes. We miss Sags. He loved this tournament. But his spirit carries on. So Kansas at 28-4. 28th consecutive NCAA tournament. Led by Bill Self in his 14th season, on a roll over the 16-seed UC Davis Aggies, who won in the first four in Dayton. And inside, it's Jackson again, comes in with his 13th point.
Well, it's those two guys you just highlighted, Dan. Mason to Jackson.
And that's something we didn't see very much of in the first half. Mason getting that deep. Well, we did see Jackson all around the rim, though.
Lamar with a spin. And a foul as he took it in a congested lane to Dana Jacobson.
Guys, I was talking with Jim Les as he was walking back out. That what he really wants to see from his team are the things he talked about yesterday. He wants them to slow things down, focus on the defense, not rush shots, be patient on offense. They're looking at that 4-minute mark where they want to be +4. And as for Sager, we do all miss him. Reggie, I think my electric blue, he would have been very proud of. Goes beautifully with your shoes.
Thank you, and you are absolutely correct. But look, it's good to slow things down versus Kansas. But you don't have the athletes or the athleticism to compete with Kansas.
Graham will get a Jackson screen. Lucas had good position, but could not get it to go.
Kevin, what did Bill Self tell us as he was going off the court at halftime? They wanted to throw the ball more to Landon Lucas, and they did that time. He didn't convert them.
Monecki comes up with his 12th point.
Really impressed with Monecki. He is active inside. Reg, you've mentioned a couple times he's undersized, but he keeps coming at you. So does that guy.
That guy doesn't stop. He's got 14 with another 3. He's amazing, isn't he? He averages over 21 points a game. That's the most since Danny Manning back in that 87-88 national championship season. Graham, triple, no. Monecki outdoes 2. Oh, and look at, here comes Graham. They've got numbers, and they've got an open Mason triple.
Well, that's just Graham and Mason being on the same page. They easily could have had a 2-on-1 layup, but Graham knew that Mason was going to run to that short corner 3. Excellent delivery.
Reggie, that's not the way basketball's played anymore. You take the 3, you don't take the layup.
Graham with a drive, and he works into Lamar, who picks up a foul on the play.
Here's the steal by Graham, and what does Mason do? As you just said, run to the 3-point line. That's what I would have done.
There's no question about that, and we understand that, but that's what everybody does in this day and age.
So Kansas from the field this season was number 1 in the Big 12 at 48.7%. From 3, they were number 1 in the Big 12 and 10th in college basketball at over 40%. But from the free throw line, a different story. 66% and number 283 in college basketball.
Well, one of the problems there, one of the guys that goes to the free throw line a lot is Josh Jackson, and he only shoots it from the line at 56%.
Darius Graham with the ball. Monecki is out there. It's caught here by Lawrence White. Also Lamar out there. Adenrele is out there too. Monecki inside, doubled again. And nice cleanup right there by Adenrele.
That's just Adenrele going to the open spot on the court, because they knocked that ball away from Monecki. He didn't pass that. They knocked it away from him. It went right to Adenrele.
Landon Lucas. He traveled inside. Looked like he got his feet too. Caught up in some defense. We watched every team practice yesterday. And when this Davis team came out there, they had played Wednesday, of course, in Dayton. Practice yesterday. I don't recall a more excited and personable group. Every one of the players came over and said hello with a drive here by Monecki and a Kansas foul at the region. I think it's on Graham.
Not only did they come over and say hello, but it was almost like they were giving Dan Bonner and Kevin Harlan like standing ovations, like they've seen you guys on TV before, but they were like bowing down because they were just so honored to be amongst your, I'm telling you, I witnessed the whole thing.
Well, the biggest surprise to me is when the UC Davis director of basketball operations came over and told me that her grandmother was the sister of my aunt. So
a little family tree bonding going on as well.
Monecki. He's got 14 for the Aggies.
But Kevin, you're absolutely right. UC Davis, they were excited, they were friendly. Now they've just run into a buzzsaw here. This is a heck of a Kansas basketball team.
Kyler Jackson up high for Lucas. Pretty throw. You know, one of the more underrated parts of Josh Jackson's game, his passing.
Well, you talked about him almost having a triple-double. That's what Jackson can do each and every night he takes the floor. Because of that size, he can score with the best of them. He can rebound, and you just saw right there being able to facilitate.
They have an offensive foul as they try to maneuver.
And Denverley got caught moving on that screen.
Who's going to make the most shots? Who has more points in the second half? If your bracket's already busted, play the Capital One NCAA Tournament Run Game on NCAA.com now and in the March Madness live app. Jayhawks will come the other way. They have made 10 of their last 11. They hadn't played in a while, and they have not played that much over the last, week and a half. So this is good to kind of get their legs stretched and.
Oh, what a pass.
Drag inside. Mikhailuk was going up, and he was hit on the play while airborne by Lawrence White.
And one of the things we've seen, particularly after the first few minutes of the game, the Kansas passing has been very impressive. They move without the ball, and then they get, the passers find the open guys.
We've kind of been talking about the rust on this Jayhawks team. They lost in that opening round to TCU. Jackson didn't play. And Kev, you and I kind of had a conversation. I think this was a blessing in disguise for Bill Self. You get more practice time. Plus, for these young players, it kind of humbles them a little bit. Everyone's been patting them on the back. You guys should be the overall #1 seed. To me, it didn't really hurt them in seeding because they are a #1 seed still. They're #2 overall seed, but still lets them know that, on each and any night, they can be beat.
Lamar, a triple. Kansas shooting 60%. Jackson 13, Mason has 17. Mason, Bragg, and shoved from behind by Mikey Henn. Kansas has done it every way imaginable, but these alley-oops have been beautiful to watch. Landon Lucas getting it there from Jackson.
This is Adam Zucker in New York with a tournament update. On True TV, Kansas State had their offense in the first 4 against Wake Forest, but not against Cincinnati. Troy Copain for the Bearcats here. Wesley Owandu just picked up his 3rd personal for K-State as we go back to Kevin, Reggie, Dan, and Dana.
Yeah, thank you. K-State shot so well up in Dayton to advance, beating Danny Manning's Wake Forest team, and now they're taking on a pretty good defensive team in Cincinnati. Mick Cronin doing a good job there, and at the free throw line, here's Carlton Bragg, a McDonald's All-America from Villa Angela St. Joseph High School, which is the same high school as Clark Kellogg. With a look at some of the numbers through the first days of this NCAA tournament.
That number there with the higher seeds being 20 and 4, that is something you almost never see in the first 2 days of this tournament.
Graham and Lamar puts it up, defended on the play by Vic. Luke will push it. Jackson on the run, cross court, and on top. Mason. Jackson against Graham. Little step back here. Tip in, beautifully positioned, Carlton Bragg.
Jackson had the mismatch down low. Did the right thing, shoot the ball quick and let the bigs clean up your mess.
This Kansas defense is really impressive. Just nothing easy for UC Davis.
The number 8 in the Big 12 in points allowed, KU is, allowing 72 points a game, the most points they've given up for a KU team in 15 years. I think it's pace, because I think it's more scoring, so it's a little deceiving to see that number. Henn. Jackson has the rebound. Elected 5, and he'll gallop the other way. Mikhailuk. LeGerald Vick. Oh, Jackson out of the rafters and home with a slam.
He's been everywhere today.
He has.
Pretty efficient, too. 7 of 10, 15 points.
No drop-off either in the Kansas intensity with a sizable lead over the 16-seed Aggies.
Well, look where Jackson comes on this shot from Vic. No box out. Everyone's just assuming that the Aggies are going to come up with the basketball here, and out of nowhere, the finish there by Jackson.
Well, the ball bounced on the rim a couple of times, and you could see the UC Davis guys who were in position for the rebound. They took a step, and they were all under the rim and had no chance to get it.
Bragg is taking a seat on the Bill Self bench. Landon Lucas is back in there for Kansas. Kansas has 6 players that average 7 points or more this season. That's the first time they've had that many average that much in 7 seasons.
Here he goes
again. He goes with Jackson. Biggest lead for KU.
And that was like, he was like a pinball on the inside there. He bounced off one guy, bounced off another, somehow maintained his balance.
Snyder takes a Timeout for Jim Les. We'll step aside in Tulsa. We're back in Tulsa watching the big dance calls for big refreshments. So grab a delicious ice cold Coca-Cola and enjoy the game. Coca-Cola. Taste the feeling. The epitome of feeling. And taste. Approaching 13 to play in the second half. Kansas, if they go on to win, will take on the winner of Michigan State Miami, which is immediately following this game in downtown Tulsa. Here comes Lamar. Graham meets him with a nice spin, a rejection by Jackson. Mikhailuk. Jackson triggers it, and Graham will pop a three. Vic hit high. Monarchy comes the other way.
Nice block there by Lamar to deny Vic at the rim.
Schneider, the Kansas high school player. No good for Davis as Jackson and Monarchy go down in a heap.
Right, there's been no drop-off, Reggie, in the intensity on the part of either one of these two teams. Monarchy and Jackson, they're locking up. But that's, I mean, this is a very impressive performance by Kansas because they've got the big lead, but they're still really playing hard.
Well, I'm more impressed by Coach Jim Les. You see the intensity when the guys huddled around him when he called that timeout. There's no quit.
Lucas has the rebound. He's got 9 of them. He's been averaging 10 here of late since mid-December. Landon Lucas carving his way for position. Working in to Ademrele. 9 for Lucas. 9 and 9.
Really nice inside move.
Schneider with a 3. Rebound by Jackson.
But again, as we have seen throughout this game, a contested 3, Reggie. Just nothing really comfortable and open for UC Davis.
Into the big man, Lucas.
Why not? That's what Bill Self said going to have. Get the ball down low to Lucas.
Well, I think he was going to pass it out to Mikhailuk, but they knocked the ball out of his hand and he got worried about 3 seconds.
That's Lawrence White who puts that in. Spent the first couple years of his college career at Antelope Valley College. Got 14 points in the game over North Carolina Central Wednesday and Dayton in the first 4. Good pass to Vic. Drop that pass here from Lucas. Here's Jackson. Talking to somebody the other day, and they said that Josh Jackson reminds them maybe of a player like Justin Winslow, who played at Duke and had that incredible run. Off balance, fading out of bounds. It's a sweet triple.
They're going to look to see if that was released before the end of the shot clock. Under the rule, you can go and look at that. Let's see if it was released before that goes to 0.
Yes, it was.
There we go.
You can put that in the books.
Welcome back to Tulsa. Right now, Kansas has a 77-43 lead over UC Davis. But these Aggies fans here, well, they are very faithful. And there's one that you may recognize. Rob Lowe is here in attendance tonight. Turns out that he was shooting a movie in Sacramento, got a chance to go to some UC Davis games, and sort of became a fan of the Aggies, enough so that on his birthday, he is here to cheer them on. Not a lot to cheer about right now, but you gotta love their fight anyway, guys.
No, and you know what? There's another tie-in, a pickoff by Graham ahead to Mason with a foul. There's another tie-in to Rob Lowe in Tulsa. You want to hear what it was?
Yes, I do.
In fact, I'm embarrassed I'm even saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway. He shot that movie. Hi, Rob. 53 today. The Outsiders. Remember that movie, The Outsiders? You probably don't.
Yes.
Tom Cruise was in it. Patrick Swayze was in it.
Young
and Rob Lowe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know why I don't even know why.
Why do you have that?
I don't know.
Because
I do not know. And
he
I
was watching Netflix last night, and it's probably on his to-do list.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I had nothing. I was really bored.
Kevin, I know that you come into these things well prepared, but that is way across the line.
I know it. I know. That's well. I didn't know Rob was going to be here, but
But you still did it.
Yeah. I know. Can Peter erase that somehow? Here's a Gerald Vick from Memphis. Aggies High School. Graham on top. A lot of guards out there for Kansas. Mason, good screen by Colby, the Ole Miss transfer for KU. Look at Colton Bragg, vacuum it in and put it back up and through.
Bragg's been pretty good here off the bench for Bill Self. He's doing all the little dirty work inside, rebounding, putbacks, setting good screens.
Here's a big-time recruit out of the Cleveland area. Snyder. Onyebalu has just checked in. Michael Onyebalu from Englewood, California. Mason right down the hatch. He's got 3 consecutive threes and 20 points.
Well, along with 7 assists and 5 rebounds. Good all-around game here by the potential player of the year.
Let me tell you some things about Frank Mason. He's the first player in Big 12 in Kansas history to average 20 points and 5 assists in a season, which is amazing unto itself. But he's the first Jayhawk to lead the Big 12 in scoring since the 04-05 season. And obviously, he's one of the greatest guards, I think, when all is said and done in Kansas basketball history. You can look at Collins, certainly the terrific Darnell Valentine from Wichita. And Mason will be right in that conversation. Lamar with 10. From executive producer Rashida Jones comes TNT's wickedly dark and wildly entertaining new series, Claws. Reggie's nickname in high school. Catch the series premiere this summer on TNT.
So you said Frank Mason, he wasn't highly recruited, correct?
Not highly.
And now could arguably go down as one of the greatest Jayhawk guards ever.
Well, a credit to Bill, who has a knack for getting these guards on the right track.
Yeah, but has he ever shot a movie in Tulsa?
Well, he grew up in Oklahoma City, so he has a lot of friends here in the state. Vick got that bow, and it was saved nicely on the play by the 5'8" Henning. Lamar. Nobody gave us our dinner selection for tomorrow night. Bill did. So he must know something about this city. Talked to him yesterday. Say, hey, give me a dinner selection. He goes, I got a good place for you.
Yeah, but he probably doesn't know anything about our per diem.
Henning's a crossover and a travel. What? you guys didn't comment on the Josh Jackson comparison to Justice Winslow at Duke and that great run he had to the Final Four in a championship.
I will say maybe in hair alone they're similar. What I like about Jackson,
I think they do it all. The way he throws his body all over the place, I think that's a lot of Winslow.
Winslow could not shoot the basketball like Jackson. To me, I think Josh Jackson is much more athletic than Winslow.
Bragg.
Winslow was a better defender than Jackson.
You think so?
Defender? Yes. Absolutely.
Lamar triple.
He took a shot there from his own teammate.
That's right. Vick was in there fighting for it too.
Kansas has not let up at all. I mean, the foot is on the gas, and it's a heavy foot.
I think they are so locked in right now after what happened in the tournament in Kansas City in the Big 12 and not playing for a while and getting Jackson back and a lot of the things swirling around the program. Sure. I think they come in incredibly focused.
Well, and speaking of things swirling around the program, that elbow swirled right around Bragg's chin, and he was not happy about it.
Jackson couldn't lasso that pass, and it had some serious gas on it. Here comes Hennings the other way. Pocketed by Graham. And numbers for KU. Mason ahead. Frank Mason's got 22.
Boy, once he gets going in transition, he is impossible to stop.
He's a ghost. Lamar. Monecki. And a foul.
We saw a lot of those in the first 5 minutes. Offensive fouls.
The #1 seed in the Midwest, the Kansas Jayhawks, getting ready now to take on the winner of Michigan State Miami next on TNT. Well, the numbers speak for themselves. The domination of the top seed Kansas Jayhawks. They'll go to the round of 32. The Aggies of UC Davis in their first NCAA tournament with a win in Dayton in the first 4 to get here, led by Jim Les. And you learn a lot about these schools as you prepare for them. We didn't know much about Davis. We did find out one thing, though. It is the three of us could not have gotten in there.
Combined.
That's the one thing we know.
Yeah,
huh?
They added up all our SAT scores together.
Combined, we still couldn't have gotten in.
Jackson. He took off too early.
And the rim won.
And I know you two couldn't have gotten in Kansas. I did. Monecki. He continues to chip away, and he's got 16 for the Aggies. They won the Big West Tournament Championship, the 7th different Big West team to win the conference tournament in the last 7 years.
This is only going to bode well for Jim Les and the Aggies next year. Come conference and tournament time, knock on wood.
Lucas with 11.
I'm looking for Monecki to be player of the year next year in the Big West.
Newcomer of the year this year, and certainly he is a hard worker out there.
Monecki with a spinner.
Yeah, look at that. I mean, that's good touch.
That is good touch.
I mean, it's a very poor man's shade of Karl Malone, that move right there alone. Just that move alone. Spin move, little fade back.
Luke.
That's a heck of a catch and pass out.
Wide open is Graham. Well, he's out of the shooting doldrums now. He's got 16 and 4 triples to his credit.
But we've talked before about Lucas and the things he can do to help the team. That was just a dynamite pass.
Snyder makes the move, and it's off the glass, but a foul out on the floor. Luke will pick it up. We're talking about Davis. How about it's the 6th best public university in America, according to the Wall Street Journal. Top 1 for veterinary medicine. And that says a lot because in the state of Kansas, Kansas State has that feel as Jackson and Mason will leave with a standing ovation from the Jayhawk faithful.
Well, how about Jim Les telling us yesterday that when they were in Dayton and he was doing a bed check, that they would go into rooms and the kids would all be in there studying, and there was a couple of kids who weren't in their rooms. They wondered where they were, and they went down and they found them in the meeting room, the team meeting room, and the three of them were working on a paper because they've got finals coming up.
Yeah, it sounds familiar. What's the big deal about that?
You never wrote a paper in your life.
I can't even write, let alone write a paper. Monecki takes it through. Pretty play.
Monecki has not quit playing
here.
No,
he hasn't.
I love him. I love this young man. Give me more Monecki.
He's got 9 boards and 20 points, and he's got a double-double in 3 of the last 4 games, and he's just not ready to accomplish that again. Adenrele will defend Lucas, who twists it.
Yes.
And Monecki with a block shot. #1 in the conference in blocks. Hennings the other way. New player in for KU just came in, Mitch Lightfoot, who is a freshman from Arizona, Gilbury, Arizona. He was the Gatorade High School Player of the Year in the state. How about that? You got a Player of the Year in the state of Arizona, and he can't find a lot of time. This is only the 24th game he's played all season. It shows you how deep Kansas is. Mikhailuk.
You know, Mikhailuk has made some tough shots.
He has,
today.
Dan, you're right.
Well, that's another welcome sign for Bill Self, because that's another player that had been struggling with his shot coming into the tournament.
Long-range shot won't go, and there's Vic with the rebound. Kansas circling over their 29th win of the season. They've had 20-win seasons now for 28 consecutive years, the longest active streak in Division I. They got a lot of numbers like that associated with this program. 3.5 to go. Right foot to Lucas. Lucas with 13 points and 11 rebounds. 5th double-double of the season. They smell blood here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Setting their sights for the round of 32. Pretty sunset in Oklahoma. Follow Bleacher Report on Instagram and get the coolest sports content before anyone else. Join millions of others. Follow Bleacher Report on Instagram now. Out of timeouts, UC Davis. If they won a game in this tournament, there's a shot which will drop a 3. Lamar, leading scorer on this team. And he's got 14 with his second triple. Tyler Self is in, the coach's son. Then Relay knocked it away. You mentioned before the Snyder kid from Lansing who's got the ball right now, Lansing, Kansas. What a thrill for him to play against the team I'm sure he grew up rooting for. Good. Lightfoot got a hand on it. They get the 3 attempts by Lamar. Grabbed by Colby.
And Snyder's had a decent game. He's got 10 points in the game. You mentioned before that he's the 6th man of the year in the conference.
Tyler Self will be at the free throw line for Kansas, and they had senior day, and he started the other night in Allen Fieldhouse, and proud dad over there. But he said, he had a daughter that got married. He said, there was nothing sad about this. I'm anxious for the next step in his career, and the next step is to get involved with basketball, coaching, administration, and he's gonna head that direction upon him leaving KU.
Well, I mean, of course, Bill Self is anxious for him to take the next step. As a parent, you want to get him out of the house and then off the table.
I like the family tree business, though, for the Self family.
Absolutely. He said the great thing about Tyler being on the team was that he got to see him every day.
And look at the fans' reaction to Tyler. You know, that says it all. And look at his teammates all standing up. And that shows you the character that he possesses as well. When your teammates and the best player and Jackson and Mason are standing and giving you a standing ovation, that says a lot.
Clay Young is in. He's from Lansing, Kansas. He has the rebound right there. Here comes Tyler Self. He probably could have played a lot more minutes at a smaller school. Wanted to walk in, be around his dad, be a part of something special, and he is. Also in is Tucker Vang. He was an invited walk-on. Make sure you get these kids' names. It's a big deal to play in the tournament. There's probably not another opportunity for them to get in. You see Colby right there. But they've got this Tucker Vang, who's from Goddard, Kansas, in Goddard High School. He was an invited walk-on. Last year, he was the KU women's practice player.
Well, didn't we have one of those in the game before?
We did, yeah.
New Mexico State.
Yeah,
Mexico State.
Right.
Yeah, but did they trade a manager to get him? Like New Mexico State did.
We talked about Clay Young in there, and he's an invited walk-on. He played at Kansas City, Kansas Community College. He's from Lansing, and I'm sure he and Siler Snyder for the Aggies met in the past. Young picks up the shot.
Georgi Funturov in the game for UC Davis.
From Bulgaria with Darius Graham at the line. Checking out Lawrence White. Checking out the senior J.T. Adrenali. And
that's straight love right there.
It is.
That's love.
When you think about what these kids have been through and how they played and winning an NCAA tournament game in the first appearance, and you don't know how much more they're going to play in their career. Monecki, he left it all on the floor, the Australian.
And here's the thing, he's sad and he's upset, tears are coming down. They really felt that they could compete with Kansas. Now on paper, people are saying absolutely not. But winning on Wednesday.
There's another senior leaving right now.
Yeah, this is great. This is what it's all about. And that's the love from head coach Jim Les. And you want to see emotions like that.
That's Darius Graham. Ball thrown out of bounds. That's a senior from Sacramento, played at Sacramento High School. And Darius Graham has started 97 of a possible 98 games. So you can tell what he's put into that program, and a hug from the coach, and the memory of playing against a #1 seed in a team like Kansas lasts a lifetime. That's a 3 by Lamar.
And they've been part of a building process at UC
exactly.
Davis, and they're hoping that this isn't the culmination, that this just is another step along the route.
No, this is great recruiting right here.
Kobe ties in with 2.
Now you can walk into young men's homes and show their parents, part of these clips right here.
And they got the right guy leading them too, in Jim Les. Long shot, won't go. Taken by Bunteroff. And here goes another player leaving. This is Brenton Lamar. He's another senior. And he's finished his career at UC Davis. 17 points and a hug from the coach. And Colby at the line. Snyder knocked away by Lightfoot. That was a pretty good rejection.
Sure was. Great timing there by Lightfoot. He wasn't heavy foot on that one.
Oh my God. This is Tyler Self. How about that? The coach's son and dad with a smile. How fun is that? How about your son scoring a tournament game?
This is great.
With a drive right there.
This is why basketball is so special and means so much to so many people, is when you see emotions like this.
Good stroke.
See the reaction here from his teammates. That is great.
Jennings gets it. Final 13 seconds. Kansas will advance. The 9th time ever that Kansas has had 100 points in a tournament game. Their 3rd largest win in tournament history. An emotional Bill Self. An emotional Jim Les. 5 seniors on that roster for the Aggies, 9 upperclassmen. Great story, best part of this tournament.
A lot of emotions in this game tonight on both ends of the floor here.
Sunday, Kansas will play the winner of Miami and Michigan State coming up in about a half hour from now here on TNT. Say this, Kansas is locked and loaded.
Boy, they sure looked good today.
Oof, they did.
Well, they got off to a rough start. We talked about the nerves probably kicking in, but Bill Self kind of told us we haven't played in 13 days.
Kansas had 5 in double figures. We'll take a break and then to our studios for the Capital One Tournament Central. After these messages, it's all Kansas, the #1 seed, advancing to the round of 32.